The Ninth Parliament started their work in May 2011. Members of the public, analysts, and the civil society viewed it as a very vibrant parliament. The MPs started on a good note, demanding for the protection of national interests and transparency in the management of the oil sector.
We were bipartisan, and we really pushed hard on issues of governance. We pushed so hard on issues of accountability, and indeed the executive was being held accountable to the representative of the sovereign or the people of Uganda.
That's how we were able to force Honorable Saida Bumba, Honorable Professor Chidu Makubuya, Honorable Kawakuma Masuko to resign. This parliament also rejected 5 nominees: Sevagala, Sare Kamba, James Kakoza, etc. But at the end, even if they brought a goat, this parliament would vet it and pass it to become part of cabinet.
A number of big fish who have been poking their hands in our kitty as a country. We have exposed some big cases: the Office of the Prime Minister, UNRA, the case of the pensions saga in the Ministry of Public Service.
Besides their watchdog role over the executive, the Ninth Parliament has also passed many legislations compared to the past parliaments. Records show they have so far passed more than 100 bills in 5 years.
This will go beyond the record of any parliament. We have done a number of reports. We have had several private members' bills. In the past, there were like only three in 5 years. But now already we have put in 13: immunization, tobacco, minimum wage, etc. So a lot of work has been done.
Some of the bills they have passed are the Petroleum Exploration Development and Production Bills, HIV and AIDS Prevention and Control Bill, Higher Education Students Financing Bill, and Pornography Bill, and the Anti-Terrorism Amendment Bill 2015, among many others.
At least they were able to pass the Public Finance Act, the Anti-Corruption Amendment, they've been able to pass the Money Laundering Act. So at least for us, when you look at legislation that has been put in place, at least to curb corruption, yes.
To some extent, people used to call us professors of oil and gas. So, to me, this country will forever remember us because of that legislation. We did our best, and I think we have the best law on the continent in oil and gas. We have the best law on the continent. We have studied all legislations on oil and gas in the entire world.
So in the first 2 years, the legislative arm of government flexed its muscle. But did it stand the test of time?
We degenerated towards the end. We now started behaving like we are an organ of the ruling party. Decisions are taken outside Parliament, and we simply come in for a ceremony. We were even passing resolutions and motions without scrutinizing them. Committees became weaker. So I mean, I can rate this Parliament, I can give it 50%.
Regrettably, I think the public lost confidence in this institution or in the membership. That's why you have an attrition rate of 83%, the highest in the history of this country, meaning that the public was not satisfied by our performance, especially in the last 2.5 years.
You can speak for your people, but you must also be cognizant that we have parties, and sometimes you are whipped by the party. You toe the party line. Sometimes whether you agree with it 100% or not, but it constrains you. So there is that basic difference.
It became common practice for the majority 259 MPs in Parliament to caucus ahead of any controversial bill or matter.
Our colleagues in the ruling party have got this problem, that they are taken to the caucus and they are beaten into line. Sometimes, actually, in most cases, what goes on in the house, they don't believe, because we share some of these views in the corridors, in the canteen, and they say, well, for us, we've been told to keep quiet, you people go and do these things.
Next to sting Parliament were accusations of bribery. The leader of opposition in Parliament, Wafula Ogutu, made allegations that NRM MPs and some opposition MPs were given money to pass the electoral reforms but lacked evidence to pin them.
That the same members of Parliament would end up getting monies for, coming to special sittings, especially to pass particular probably electoral reforms.
When the story of this Parliament is told, this country will be shocked. Many of us became vulnerable, and almost all the transactions in this Parliament became deals.
The 100 million, which was supposed to have been, which was passed around, I don't know for what, we also heard about it. But again, we tried to track it. It wasn't possible, but we would hear in social media and whatnot that even some members of the opposition got the money. But we tried our best. I personally tried my best to get hold of some evidence so that we would expose it. But it wasn't easy.
We've seen situations where committees were compromised. If a committee chair is compromised to adulterate a report, really, what moral authority do you have to think you are representing people or that you are exercising oversight on government? So I worry about the excessive corruption in the House. And of course they will come up and say, produce evidence, but they know they've been compromised. Reports disappear, reports get doctored.
They are also blamed for mishandling the petitions from the public.
Then we presented a petition regarding the whole issue of quality chemicals. We're referring to that the Auditor General's report, IGG report. No action actually has ever been taken. Despite the fact that when we met the Speaker, she promised to take action. Again, no action has been taken. So you realize that the whole issue of presenting petitions before either the Speaker or people that have been delegated by office, they receive the petitions, but actually we don't see any action.
Some laws like the Public Order Management Bill passed by Parliament were also seen as responsible for shrinking the political space for the opposition. Dramatic scenes unfolded when opposition MPs tried to block the passing of the bill.
So we cannot sit here to see Parliament putting handcuffs on freedom of assembly. We shall fight over our dead body. This is just a starting point. This business of walking away, they continue passing unconstitutional and illegal has stopped today. We will no longer walk out.
One MP, Ibrahim Semuj, was carried out of the chambers when he tried to protest.
You are Speaker of Parliament and you tell your bodyguards they go and dress in civilian clothes to come on the floor of Parliament. Where do you leave the dignity of Parliament?
Others decided to sing. Some MPs also scrambled for more districts for their political gains, despite its cost to public administration and its interpretation in some quarters as masking gerrymandering. The Shadow Minister for Finance and Tororo Counties, Geoffrey Ekanya, even threatened to commit suicide in his demands for a district. But above all, absenteeism of members of Parliament also affected their performance. In the second part of our series, Assessing the Ninth Parliament, we shall talk about absenteeism in plenaries, sessional and standing committees of Parliament. Agnes Nanduto, NTV, Parliament.